With boom, crack, kabow. Baby, look around, it's Dida Ritz. How now? Sister, brown cow, stunning. That's a Monique Hart reference, but this follows for Dida Ritz too. Dida, are you ready to get in today?
Yes, ma'am.
Ooh, shoulders stripping for the kids. Go ahead and cue my theme music. Listen. Yeah. Yes, dog. Oh. Get that out of there. Hey everybody, it's your boy Matty-Rants. Thanks so much for tuning into the channel. Do me a favor and hit that like button, that share button, and that subscribe button. Those are 3 objects you have to do. That's the first finger, the second finger, and this finger, okay? Good luck. Now, also, if you want to follow me on my social media pages, that's going to be at MattyRants on both Facebook and Instagram, and at the MattyRants on Twitter. Y'all know I'm on Cameo. Y'all know I have a Patreon channel. We're doing movie watch-alongs each and every week, so please join my Patreon for that. That's going to be some fun stuff. I'm going to let y'all pick the movies, too. And if you want to donate to the channel, please and thank you. That's Cash App, $MattyRants, Venmo, Matty-Rants, PayPal.me/MattyRants. The reason why I'm speaking so fast is because we have to get to the one. Royalty of season 4, Miss Dida Ritz.
It's me.
Hold
it's
on.
me.
Where is bonjour, lady?
Bonjour, ladies. How you doing?
She's back in the workroom, kittens. Now, this is a new segment today I want to introduce y'all to. I'm going to learn where this camera is because I'm not used to it being so low. But this is called Bring My Queens Back. This is with the Matty-Rants channel. I want to showcase the girls we all love, okay? The ones who I need to see often and always and on time, but sometimes we don't get the opportunity and chance to because of and. And we might get to some of that today, but really this is about Dida and us loving and getting to know her a little bit better, and also finding out where we can support her at all times. So Dida, where on social media can everybody follow you at first and foremost?
You can follow me on Instagram and Twitter are my favorites. I love doing rec moments. My Instagram is Dida Swag, and then my Twitter is the real Dida Swag. And then I have Facebook, which is just facebook.com/Dida Ritz. So there are some weird fan pages on there that I know that people have run and start, but those aren't mine. Mine is, trust me, it's mine. You know it's mine.
I swear I was your friend on Facebook many years ago. I don't know if I think you did a purge or whatever. You probably didn't even know that was me. But I swear when you had friended me and it was way back, I was like, oh my God, it's Dida. And I was following you through that in the Chicago scene, and every time I would see you perform. So it was really interesting here when we get these notifications of we're going to possibly have a lip sync assassin moment on the season. So Dida, let's just go ahead and hop into some stuff right now, and we go.
Okay, let's talk.
Cute questions too. I'm gonna ask you what your favorite movie is later. And y'all don't mind the shiny forehead. I just got the shower. Y'all be okay. I smell good. So Dida.
Yeah.
This season of Drag Race All Stars 5, a lot of us fans, of course, and I know you hear it, which I don't want to be about it, but we're all so when is Dida gonna be there? You know what I mean? You got somebody who made it pretty far this season, who gave us very memorable moments. We had Untucked history with you, girl. We've had we'll talk about the lip sync a little later, y'all. Give me a second. I want to give her time for that because she hasn't gotten my full description just yet. But what do you think so far of this season? And when you hear Lip Sync Assassin and then you see what we've been given so far, where does that put you? And no shade to the other queens. We're just, talking about Dida.
Yeah. Well, I think that this season so far is really, really good. It's really juicy. I'm rooting for Shea Coulee just because I want my Chicago sister to win. And I've known Shea since she started doing drag. So there's just, that's just what I'm rooting for.
Yay.
I think that, it's always fun to see on All Stars because the girls really bring it on the runways and with the with the looks, and they're so high fashion and creative. So I've enjoyed all that. When I saw that there was this whole like a lip sync assassin thing, yeah, my feelings were definitely hurt. I was like, okay, it would have been nice to have been like asked at least for that, because I don't know. It's really weird with me and Drag Race. Like, I never get asked to do anything. And like, you think about like season 10, remember they had all those girls in the first episode? I wasn't asked to be a part of that, or I've never been asked to come back and do a cameo. And, I understand that maybe when I was on the show, my looks were not up to what I guess everybody's standards they
Oh
wanted them to
no.
be. Which, when I look back, I mean, honestly, you and I think, can agree. Like, I looked fine. I looked very great. But I feel like people hold that to me, maybe that they don't think that I can like hold, a candle next to some of the other queens. Which, honey, you know me personally. I'm a very cocky person.
I have
I just maybe,
seen this
I
queen
don't
can
know.
perform though. That's the thing about it.
So
Whether it's a look or not, I'm always like, but what is the talent like? Because if the talent's there, I'm not gonna always be like, is that bodysuit up there one more again? If you got me really boom boom powing, I'm focused on the boom and the pow. Now I will say your season, you were giving daytime tease.
absolutely, I was giving you very what I'm wearing right now, almost like very like let's get in
Very,
the
very
view
of a woman.
interview.
She's 4 p.m.
Yes,
I got her.
absolutely,
She likes to go out
absolutely.
with the girls. Now, some of these wigs, Dida, keeping it
Yes,
real.
honey, no, let me tell you, I'm glad and I'm so proud to say the last couple of years, everything has either been human
I've
or
seen
it's been very like sculpted and well. Thanks, shout out to Camilla Fox.
I
But like,
see the shine.
you
I see
know,
the shine. I
I'm
remember.
like, honey, no, that was the one thing actually when that happened. I still remember my mother like calling me and my mother being like, oh my God, I'm so proud of you, but what's with the hair, girl? Like the hair, like da da da. So ever since that, I'm like, no more shelf hair. You gotta order your hair, bundles, T.S. Madison talking about you 4 bundles or less, you're bald headed. So now I'm making sure that these wigs got at least 4, 5 bundles in them when I wear them.
Listen,
But I
shout
mean,
out
those
to
are things that
T.S.
you have to
Madison.
do,
Right.
Shout out to T.S. Madison. But those are things you have
Yeah.
to do, like, you have to take in all that little critique. But I always felt like maybe that type of stuff held me back from doing some of the real fun stuff, because they maybe thought, oh, well, is she gonna show up like this? Or it's interesting. It's like, well, we all have the internet.
But they've allowed crunchier queens back on the season, so I don't know what that's about.
Yeah.
So I'll let that go. I feel that's a favoritism moment. I mean, there was that when you were describing yourself as Carrie from Sex and the City, and it was that blonde wig, and I said, now God bless her for that description, because that ain't Carrie, girl. I mean, but that's somebody. That's not Carrie.
It's somebody.
I remember when Michelle even brought up a stain on your shirt, and I was like, are we doing this today? Like,
that's what they was doing. But you know what? I always say, like, those type of things help me now be so on point, like when I step out. And it's funny because when you're meeting people, you even see their eyes kind of roaming and examining you as checking the hairline, making sure the mug is painted.
You saw me.
Look, are the teeth white?
I dipped you down.
Like I'll be like, and I love it though. So it's like whenever I'm getting ready, I'm like, okay, let me just make sure everything is really good.
Right. The girls check.
It is art. I mean, we are supposed to be art, so that is what it is.
Absolutely.
So it has to be perfect.
Drag is up to the interpretation of the person. All drag is valid in my opinion. I do want to say though, because I want to get to this lip sync, because I know everyone's like, come on, Matt. I'm gonna give my, just as a fan to you, because we talked, but our lighting was bad that drag con. That's why we're having this.
Yes.
That lighting was awful. But that same drag con, I met T.S. Madison, and that's my sis. That was the last drag con we all had, and honestly, that was a big deal for me, because it was like I felt real close to y'all. But let me tell you something, dude, about your lip sync and what it did for me years ago as a young sissy sitting in my house. Okay. I was with a group of people and we were watching you, and they were already telling me, you should be talking about the show, Matty, because I would have watch parties. I remember standing up slowly as your performance transitioned, almost like, is she emulating? Is she emoting? Is she giving 110,000%? Is this in front of Natalie Cole? Natalie Cole, listen, y'all, when the call happens and they tell you to arrive, you must be on time. And when it's with somebody like Natalie Cole, for crying out loud, I know there's been some people on this show, We don't talk about certain folks like Madison Beer and all the rest of the girls who only have this much. We're talking about legends, statements, stars.
Yes.
That's a legend. That was a statement, and that's a star. Dida, in that short da whoop wig of yours, Miss Thing, with this gold outfit of yours, all your knees shining, glowing in tissy glory, Miss Girl. When that wig shake happened as you were skipping across, that's when I knew it was over. It was already done, but when you had said, and I'm gonna do it, as you were walking, it was a wrap. And you said, whoa, 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 and no, from now on. I can do it. From now on, yes, I had that whole scene. That's one of the lip syncs I have down. I can just watch it and do the whole performance. I said, and then
God, I love it.
The breathe in and out moment, I said, that is, when Latrice said, that is high drag, I said, yes, it is. That's what I'm used to seeing in Texas. That's what I'm used to seeing at 1 a.m. in the morning when Chevelle Brooks just so happens to be there. No one has announced her arrival. And you're like, excuse me? Or Savannah Westbrook pops up in there and it's like, what's going on? And all the legends stopped. Tommy Ross, girl, don't get me there. I'm one of those people who knows the queen.
Oh, yes. I love Tommy Ross. She's so fabulous. So, she's like one of my favorites.
Right. And there's that emoting in the people who can just get into a song and you just forget what's going on and you start to look for a dollar. Dida, if I had been there, if we had been there, rain of money. Princess would have been knocked off the stage. Get off the stage! You let her perform. How dare you?
I mean, that's literally what it was. When you're there, you're like forced to do what your other brain does as a drag queen, which is be creative. I just wanted to really do a good job in front of her. Obviously, you know, it was season 4. It was Lipsync for Your Life that had already become like a thing. And I always felt like the lip syncs were great, but I remember telling myself, like, if I have to do it, that's just what I'm gonna do. And you know, I'm a performer. Like before going to Drag Race, I never thought about that. I mean, I did acting and stuff like that, but I never thought about how to incorporate that with my drag ever. It was kind of weird. So I've always just been a performer when it comes to drag. And so probably like before Drag Race, like at Drag Race, I just learned how to like really like use my other side of my brain. I was saying before, like of the drag queen, the creative side and the side of you that knows how to maybe come up with jokes and, you know, improv and do stuff like that. So I just was happy when I got to like really showcase a performance because, you know, you're just using the other side of the creative side of your brain most of the time where you're at Drag Race. You're not putting on drag shows. So Let's See For Your Life is kind of to like let your energy out.
It's like this is your last chance to continue on in this, you know, ill-produced production. No, I'm just kidding. Oops.
I mean, girl, season 4 money.
Girl, listen, I talked to Jiggly. Trust.
I always say that's the like, honey, other than like obviously winning and like, you know, the bragging rights of being on All Stars, I want to go on All Stars to experience the new budget, honey. I haven't experienced a new budget. See, season 4, we had got some money, and even some of the girls who were from like older seasons, like seasons 1, 2, and 3, some of them was like real sour towards us too, because like we had got the whole commercial. We got to meet the queens, but we got like a really high budget.
The commercial. Like, y'all's commercial was the tea. See, that was it. That was the beginning of the like beat commercials, because I remember the whole Rupaul robot walking up in there, pressing a couple buttons, and then everybody said, pose, pose, pose. I said,
oh my God. It was so sickening to film that too. That was so sickening. We were like on these turntables and we were just like every time we were turning looking for, and they didn't use half of the fierce stuff that I like was doing. They like, it was crazy because I was doing all this stuff like where I was dead staring in the cameras. I was rotating around like very fembodish, and I was like living. I had never been on anything like that. We were at Smashbox Studios. Like I was like, oh, this is what I've been wanting to do. I want to work in this stuff.
See, and you did a nasty little bend back, if I remember correctly, from when you had did your pose, and it said zoop. I said, oh, there go Dida giving you angular tease, mama. She studied a book called Vogue.
Yes, darling.
I was here. Listen, season 4 was like the big. I think 1, 2, and 3. I was always in it, but when it came to 4, I had so many favorites. I didn't know what to do, and of course, that was where it solidified my love for the show. Because I thought to myself, at the time when I was watching, I was one of the girls like, now if Sharon don't win this, I don't know what to say. But then I was like, but I want Latrice to win, but I want Chad to win. But dang, Dida is serving, girl. She made it all. Girl, you made let it be known. Let it be known. I don't care about the whole Queens coming back for Kenya Michaels bit. You are the queen in the top 5. I said it.
Thank you.
I said it.
Thank
I
you.
said it. They tried to redact that in one list I saw, and I was like, no. She had to come back. That does not count. She went home next. Doesn't count. I say she got to skip a stay, give her the time. She didn't get to skip a stay.
Boop.
You went home the time you went home.
No, and that's very, very true. That's what I always say. I'm like, I worked hard for my top 5 spot.
You did,
and
sis.
it's it's like that's partially why I've always said like it's just some interesting things going on, because I'm not a middle elimination girl. I almost won.
You were in the top. You were in the you were this close to a top 3 at the time with top 4. Top 4, season 4. And that was always something to me that I didn't really care about that season, because it was just like, so we're just gonna forget that Dida kind of like worked her ass off to get up here, and while you were trying to trash her for her daytime attire, that got all the way up to this level, and then Gladys Knight just so happened to be playing, and you went up against Latrice, and you had to use my imagination. Listen, Dida, I felt bad for you that day, girl. I'm being real. I said.
No, that was, look, if there's any, and this might be the most cliche answer to it, if there's anybody to go home to, it is Latrice, because Latrice, I know, is a exquisite performer. And so I just was like, okay, if I go home to her, then I can really actually not be embarrassed about this elimination and not winning, because Latrice is a bad bitch. So and that's one thing I've always respected about her. She holds her own. She doesn't let weight ever get involved. She never brought up weight as a thing on our season ever about her. She always just brought her best. So I was like, okay, I can take this. I can take it. And even still, it does hurt a little bit, damn. But you realize you at least went up against a competitor, somebody who was really competing.
And you was giving some Beyonce choreography to a Gladys Knight number. Let's be real, Dida.
Yes, with my blonde hair, yes.
I said, girl, she don't Avery off this stage. So Gladys.
I was living, girl. I was living. You saw I had to leave.
Oh yes, yes. I said she was ready. Ready.
I was like, I can't move up in this dress. Now looking back at it, actually, because of what I have learned about performing and really studying how I perform, I could have probably just stood there real cool and did that song with a full lip sync. So, you live and you learn.
That's it. It's always when the red light turns on, that's it. Okay.
Yeah.
What you do is what you do. When it's off, let's see what the tape plays. So
yeah, because sometimes you watch yourself back and you're like, oh, that's what I thought I looked okay.
Oh yeah. Well, that happened in a recent video. I was like, girl, I sweated through that whole thing. My God.
Girl.
Too bad.
Oh my goodness.
Oops. And then we just push it through. So I gotta say again, Dida, season 4 was one thing that was amazing for you, but I want to get into some other things, because that is not all that Dida Ritz is. Okay, and let's get that straight with a lot of these queens, honey. They were local girls before they were on TV, and a lot of these girls are still local girls. So please tip your queens. Okay, when you come to the club and you see there's 5 on the roster, that means at least get $10 too, because there may be 2 numbers. $15 for the 3 numbers for at least $1. At least $1 for performance. Now, if you like them so much, you give some girls 5s, 10s, and 20s, pay bills. Cash App, $, you know the rest. Dida, listen, me and Jamar saw you at Long Beach. Now, you did do Natalie Cole, and of course, everybody in that arena at the time, this was prior to COVID, everybody was like, oh my God, the song is playing. What's about to happen? She's playing the song. But then you did another song. I'm trying to remember which one it was. I was like, girl, she can be Beyonce the whole night. Oh, it's been so long. Too many,
Yeah. Yeah. I'm trying to think what I did, and I can't remember what I did.
I remember your outfits, though. I think it may have been Nikki. See, this is why I need Jamar here. He's like a fossil. He just remembers everything.
Oh, or was it Drunken Love?
Drunken Love. Yes, it was, because you
Yes. I was rocking with it. Yeah.
Yes. Dida gave us Beyonce. We're always appreciative in the Black community. Speaking of the Black community, real quick for season 4, and just in general, a lot of times with us as Black viewers, I may not be able to speak for everybody, but when I see 2 Black queens perform a song by a Black queen, it does something for my spirit every single time. So even though you lost to Latrice, I was like, Okay, just like how we wanted for All Stars 3, a Kennedy Davenport versus Chi Chi DeVay moment to a possible, I don't know, a disco number. It could have been lovely, but
Yeah.
that was one of my things about your season 2. I was like, but we did get a Latrice versus Dida moment, and
You
that's
did.
that is something. Now, Dida, um, tell me, because you were on Central Time Zone, so of course I felt like I don't know my geography. Are you in
Mm.
Chicago right now, or are you have you moved, or is Chicago in Central?
I am in Chicago still. Here. I'm in Chicago in my apartment, and then I also have my boyfriend. Me and him kind of have been doing COVID together, so I go to his
Oh,
place a lot and work, and then I come back over here and work at my apartment, and then we slowly have been trying to go out and hang out with our friends, but it is nerve wracking right now, and we don't know what this is still, so I wear a mask, and I just am very like, I mean, I already am very like hand sanitizer and wash my hands type of person,
mhm.
but it's just made me more even like alert. And I've always observed little things like when you're at the airport, there are a lot of people who don't wash their hands after using the bathroom. So it's kind of like
And
a
that's
little
one
bit
of the
like
worst
freaks me
bathrooms
out.
ever,
Yeah,
because
exactly.
everybody's coming from everywhere and they're just dropping off stuff in there, honey. And I don't know how much soap is going to be needed for all of that 10,000.
Yeah, I hate using airport bathrooms. They're the
Ooh,
worst.
you should
The
see
worst.
me get in there, and like I have a bag, so I have to put it on the hook, and then I'm just like using my feet the entire time. I'm just picking up
Yeah.
bags. I'm like,
Oh,
no, no.
I do not like it. It's so uncomfortable. It's so disgusting. You're right, because everybody's just
Oh.
dropping everything off.
And you never want to go right after the flight because everybody and their mama is up in there. And now we're like, oh, why is it musty and hot in here? Should that
Yeah.
ventilation
Oh,
system? All right, sorry, y'all. You know I like to go in my little spills.
yeah.
You got me thinking of the airport. I hate it.
Everybody can relate, honey. Trust.
That's like one of my least favorite, next to checking my luggage, when all they do is put it up there, and I'm like, come on, y'all, don't give me this. I know it's gonna be over.
Hmm.
I know it's gonna be over. The thing, Dida, let me speak to you on this, because I noticed that you were out there marching,
Yes.
and I saw you with your mask on, girl, natural hair,
Yeah.
okay, and
Yeah.
for me, when I see that, and I see people who, again, I have looked up to in a sense of, television journeys, or just in following your path, and I see you out there in the streets, please tell us a little bit about what that day was like for you, what it's like to sit with your family, your sisters, your brothers, kinfolk, and you're out there. Oh, I'm getting emotional talking about this. And you're out there, not just representing, but you're speaking for peace, in a whole different kind of peace that people still don't understand what we're asking for.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, it was really great because, like, I was sitting there with, like, I was actually sitting in between Toto and Shay, or I was sitting in between the two of them, and like, it was just even that moment of thinking, like, I remember when Shay and Toto first started, and it's like to think we would be sitting in such an aligned and like really feeling empowered at this march, that people are here to not only like fight for us but defend us and show love to us and show like what they've been seeing and feeling, what we've been feeling for years. So it was great to just like be there.
Mm.
It was so ironic, and I just am realizing this now as I'm talking to you, that it was right in the same location as where Pride Fest happened, where the stage happened, the main
Wow.
stage happened. So I don't know if that was planned or what, but I just noticed that it was right there, dead in the same spot where usually the corporate capitalist Pride
Mm.
has always happened, where it's very whitewashed and it's very that. And so I thought it
Yeah.
was so interesting how it was ripped down to its raw, and we were
Ooh.
all just standing on top of it was a stage that they had set up there for us, and they had lined chairs in front of there, and we were just sitting there. And I just thought, now really was quiet a lot of the time. There's a few times where like Shay looked over and she's like, "You okay?" And I'm like, "I'm good." It's like I was just like, I was so in the moment, because this is something that I have talked about before, since even my season, and like really, and I didn't speak about it on the show, but I definitely spoke about it like as my experience of being a drag race girl, and being not being used as tokenism and all that. Like, it was just very nice to like sit there and see so many people finally agree with you. It's very much like a I told you so moment.
Mm-hmm.
Trying not to like throw that in people's faces. And
Mm-hmm.
I've even tried to have to learn how in this moment, like to learn that there are so many white people who want to learn and want to like really educate themselves. And so I have to remember like how I have to remember to be happy about that and not feel like a mad black man or a mad black woman and be like, no, F you and yo, that, but like, we're really taking the love, and really, I don't know, just be happy. So it made me happy just to
Yeah.
see that.
We got allies. We do have allies. I know one personally. Every time I talk to her and she starts to bring up, Maddie, did you see this and this today? It makes me so angry. I get so butterflies in my stomach because, I
Mm-hmm.
grew up in the South. Okay, so when I
Yeah.
talk about microaggression and then full-on aggression and then just whatever aggression you can think of, just put another word on top of it, and that's what I grew up with, along with homophobia. But when I see what y'all did in Chicago, Chi-Town,
Yes, yes, yes.
it gave me something because it was like these are a lot of the queens that we continue to see. The Chicago drag scene is a serious force to be reckoned with. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I have learned that over this past week.
Yeah.
There were people who were wanting to talk about it, and then I said to myself, "That's not my story. I don't
Mm-hmm.
need to tell something where I don't live there. That's not my
Mm-hmm.
thing. I don't know the situation. I've met this girl. I've met that girl. This is interesting." But then to hear stories as well in your community like that, to know that's going on while we have seen video footage capturing those moments, not realizing there's other parts to that story, which always helps me realize that sometimes I don't see myself sometimes in what I do.
Mm-hmm.
Dida,
Yeah.
just to ask, not to be too, because it's none of my business. Chicago, don't come for me. I respect you. For you, with what happened, not to speak for Chicago, but how did you feel with what took place? Because I was happy the conversation happened, and I was happy that even though not all answers seemed to be answered, I'm
Mm-hmm.
glad that people like Lucy Stoop held everyone accountable, and it was very
Mm-hmm.
direct with it. And I needed that
Mm-hmm.
as a brother sitting there watching that situation.
Yeah, it was, first of all, shout out to Lucy Store and Joe Mama because they really do make up a really strong spearhead of the Black Drag Council. And they really do keep the conversations going and really keep the conversation rolling between us, how we can all kind of branch out into the different bars and the communities we work at. Um, I once again, I've been doing drag for like 15 years in Chicago and in Boys Town specifically, and I never thought once again I'd see the day where these conversations are being had because even I work at Sidetrack, I'm like one of
Yeah.
Sidetrack's girls, and I've been having conversations with them about this. Oh my God, like maybe like year or so, like maybe 2 years, 2 or 3 years ago, I started really talking about this.
Wow.
And so they were honestly like, and they admitted they didn't think it was really happening. They thought I was being maybe sensitive, and I think there was other incidents that started happening with other Black employees at the bar, then it was really brought to their attention. And then when they
Mm,
heard people kind of start making jokes here and there, it was it was a questionable thing, And then when I think the town hall meeting happened, it was just like right there in front of your face. And so
whew.
now it's been really having to have those really complicated, hard conversations of necessary I told you so, but then also like these are things that you guys can do to really help make this place inviting for other Black people because I feel invited in here. It's just you need to figure out I work here. You need to figure out how the customers
Right.
can feel invited. So it's been great to like have that where like these conversations are really wide open.
Right.
And like I said, they've been very uncomfortable to have them. There's also just been a lot of apologies, I think, that have to, be dealt out. And I think that that's really hard for
Right.
white people to do sometimes, to have to like apologize for, especially something that is very race driven, whether they were meant it or not. And so there's just been a lot of those conversations being had. And some of it has had, some of those people have had to be called out and some of those
Yeah.
people have had to be very put on alert. And I think
Yeah.
that now is the time if if you're having those problems, just to say things. I've been very
Right.
active on Twitter about people that I have felt maybe within the Drag Race family of how I've have felt, or they've used their microaggression or tried things like that with me, and I've had to be honest because I need to get those things off my chest. So.
Right. Thank you, Dida, like for just sharing that with us here, because honestly, a lot of us can see on the outside, but we don't know what's going on if we're not there. And so that's why I want to ask these important questions today, as well as some light ones right now. But before I do this quick question moment before we wrap this video up, I have a new drama segment starting this week called She Ain't. And that's for he or she. This is a gender neutral reading zone. And the first person I'm doing is Mr. Shane Dawson, because she just wants to be in the news this week.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I have my thoughts tomorrow, but I just want to ask you quick thoughts on that. Almost like we're having a tea moment, y'all. We're now doing the of this video. So, Dida, what are your thoughts on, the pick-me?
Okay. So, so Jeffree Star is always through my feed, because lately, obviously, people just always have opinions about Jeffree Star and his past and the things that he's done and not holding accountability and those type of things. So I always see a lot of reads about him through my feed of Twitter. But I started seeing like this Shane Dawson person being like tag, and I say this out of like all due respect. I had no clue who Shane Dawson was. I know it's gonna sound shady the way I put it, but like, for instance, like Billie Eilish, I really don't know any Billie Eilish music, but I know who she is. And when I see her, I'm like, oh, that's that Billie Eilish girl. Like, I know it.
The one who just looks sad. Yeah, she just.
Yeah, and she always got the green hair, and I heard she like to eat spiders and stuff like that. Yeah, like like I know who that is. But like when I was like Shane Dawson, I was like, who is this Shane Dawson person? And then I was seeing the whole like James Charles being tagged and things. So I went and did the whole research because I had time. So I was like, well, what is what? And I was following in the videos and kind of like blogger, YouTubers, and I'm telling the tea. And I was like, oh, this is kind of shady. So I guess my whole thing is that Shane is wrong for doing that whole blackface thing. And he needs to be, obviously he's being called out, but Brad needs to like take a break or something, like seriously. Cause that's some major ass shit that she was doing. And then, like you said, it was on like other channels. It's a little shady. Like, just saying.
Hold Jeffree Star accountable too. That's all. She called Jackie Aina a gorilla, and that is not snackable. I
saw that in the tea too. I was like, what? Like, I was learning all this stuff about just through through the Shane. I was like, oh. Yeah, no.
I can't. I can't. I won't. I will not. And then everything else that goes with it. I'll get Jeffree later. Shane will be tomorrow. But the thing is, like you say, we have to hold people accountable. And if you want everybody to say this person, oh, we're going to put them in jail. Okay, well, that person too just did it. So
yeah,
bring them in. And then mind you, Tati released a video today. I did watch it. It was the most Karen of Karen things I have seen a Karen do. It was Karenable. It was very Karen.
Yeah.
Because at one point, and I'm going to talk about this tomorrow, and I'm going to get to the questions here, but at one point she goes, I hope y'all still like me after this. And that's when I was done. I said, I am done. This is about people still liking her.
Yo, like I said, I had to do my research. So like I watched her, the Bi Sisters video. and she was like, I saw that and I was like, oh, that's kind of messy. You couldn't have had this conversation with your friend, like, instead of like going on a video, and like, that's a little strange. But you can't pick up the phone and call nobody?
You let this one and that one, Tweedledee and Tweedledum, run you up there, Alice? The wonderland that you must be in, girl.
Oh my God.
Anywho, that's why I said this apology was cute or whatever to James, but honestly, you did exactly what I knew what you were going to do, which was Karen, whatever the tea was. Even though you told me a lot about Jeffree and Shane, I'll get on to it a little bit later. But Dida,
the world is dripping with Karens. Anyways, continue.
This is what like I said, Twitter is how to find a racist, homophobic, any other just hateful thing. Just if you want to find them, go on Twitter. They're there, girl. They are right there. Please find me is what they say.
They want to be famous.
So we're gonna do something nice and lovely. This is gonna be a quick rapid fire questions. I'm gonna have these questions pulled out of my brain, back in.
Okay.
And Dida's gonna answer them as quickly as she can. And this is gonna be just little stuff here. It's almost like a dating profile if you really want to go there, even though she's got a man. She got a man.
Yeah.
She got a man. Okay. Listen. So Dida, here we go. So Dida, favorite food.
Favorite food is creamy Alfredo.
Favorite drink.
Favorite drink is like the little tea, like the teas with the little tapioca balls.
Oh, so like some
like the
boba tea. Do you like some boba?
Yeah, okay. Bubble tea. Love bubble tea.
A little boba tea. Okay, I love boba tea. Favorite movie.
Set It Off.
Oh, that's in my top 30. Girl, wait, because I'm a poetic there, but Set It Off is
guy. Poetic Justice is up there on my top 5 though.
Oh, poetic girl. See, but now you got me thinking of Cleo. I'm gonna have to go watch this.
See, that's what I favorite. I love Cleo. I gotta watch when they drive out the bank. Oh, I love it.
Yes, come on. Okay.
I love that movie.
So, favorite song.
Oh, favorite song has to be the song by Rachel Farrell called Blackbird. It's like a scat jazz number.
I know that song. So, wow. I live. Favorite artist.
I love all that. Oh, okay. So, like, is this anybody or like artists, just musical artists?
Let's say music artist.
Favorite musical artist has to be Mary J. Blige. I've always liked her. I've always kind of like fallen back to her as like she takes me through it. Like her music helps me get through it. I vibe with her.
You and I. Oh, come on, Mary, with that dip.
Okay. Right? I love
that little shuffle, little.
I love the way Mary dances. Yes.
Dida, get some Mary in your routines, girl. I love to see you some Mary. Give me some high bumps and just yeah. I'm throwing money. I'm throwing money. Okay.
I'm gonna do it. Trust. I'm gonna do it.
I live off Mary J. That's a good one. Favorite book.
Favorite book has to be The Dream Keeper by Langston Hughes.
Ooh.
That was one of my first books of poetry my mother ever bought. Like the first book she really bought for me to have as part of, like on a bookshelf, was The Dream Keeper by Langston Hughes. And I felt so adult and I read that book and it was poems so I could like read them. It was, I love it.
See, you brought your mom in, so we'll bring this next question. Best advice your mom gave you?
You're gonna have to work 10 times harder than the white kids. Always remember that.
I had that because
I grew up around like, I grew up in a neighborhood with all white kids, and in school, sometimes in class, I was the only black kid. So it was, because of maybe just the timing, or there was honors classes at that time. So I always kind of had to. I was always around white kids and being influenced by the fact of why they were being treated differently, more different than me. So I remember my mother said that to me, and it changed everything. I was like, oh, I just have to work harder.
Yeah, we had that same lesson. Like my family is like, they're either as light as me or as dark as you. So how we were sat down was, all right, you're all black, but here's how this is gonna work. Matthew, days, you won't have anything happen. Bobby, you will have every day it happens. Do you get it? And I at first was like, what? He goes, you'll have it some days, but not as much as your brother. And you will understand soon. And sure enough, one day, they didn't even know me and my brother were related at one point in time until someone had to bring it up. They're like, what? I'm like, yeah, we're full blood. What? All that. Impossible. Possible. Black. Different shades. Get into it.
Yes, believe it or not. The melanin comes in different shades, honey.
And last question here, if you could walk back into the workroom, what would be your catchphrase?
I'll give you everything for like a good minute, all the face and everything, and then I would be like, finally, damn.
Okay. Good old Zoom. Bap.
Like,
I love it.
Y'all. Touch y'all long enough.
Okay, and I'm here for it too. Dida Ritz, thank you so much for being here today and for doing this with me. Honey, listen, this is a new segment here. Dida's the first one down this list, y'all. You know where to find her on her social media. Make sure you tip a queen when she's performing on any sort of platform, venue, or location. And that goes to all queens here. Remember, they were on a TV show many years ago. So why are you still people change, people grow, and the journey still goes on. Thanks so much for being here again, Dida. And thanks so much, everybody, for tuning in. Y'all have yourselves a wonderful day. Puss, puss, stepping on the room. Bye-bye.